Morning, everyone. Going out to do morning chores in the rain. I have a good raincoat and good rain boots. New boots. Pants with a pocket for my phone. That was cool. I bought them at the grocery store. I don't like shopping. What else did I get at the grocery store? Socks. Warm cozy socks. Could not find them at Target. Our Walmart closed, so we don't have a Walmart. I love my garden. So this tarp is excellent for me who does morning chores because I can stand under here. Can't see the birds this way. So I gave them food and water first, now I'm going to let them out. Mosquitoes. Little chickens. Morning, little chickens. I crate little chickens at night, separate from the big chickens. I don't want the big chickens hurting them when I'm not around. I think by the end of the month we'll be able to ditch the little crate and the little chickens can go with the big chickens. So we hatched these guys late because we have one hen. Come on, little rooster. We have one hen and 6 roosters. Our first hatching. So we're newbies at the chickens this year. So we were trying to hatch some more hens. And these guys, we have one hen and 2 roosters is what it looks like. The little gray one's a hen. Can't swear to it. It's hard to tell the difference at this age, but behavior tells me that we have 2 roosters and a hen. So we'll have 2 hens and 8 roosters. We don't really want 8 roosters. We tried all summer to get somebody to take them off our hands, to rehouse them. Impossible. Nobody wants them. Can't just let them go either because that's frowned upon. We talk about, I don't even want to talk about it. We can't kill them. Just can't do it. Not today anyway. So back to the rain. My son-in-law, my daughter's husband, helped with the plastic. I came out here with clothespins, which I use a lot, and big thick plastic, which I bought for gardening, but I repurpose it when I need it for something else. And he came out with a staple gun and a knife, and I had some scissors, and he did a really super nice job of doing this plastic. And then I did some reading, and I found out that when the plastic gets cold in the wintertime, it gets really brutal, and it'll just, it'll fray, it'll shred. But for now, it's been perfect. We've gotten a lot of rain. I also added mulch, which I did do by myself. I didn't have help with this. They were busy working on the building. The ground's really low where the coop is, so the rain was going this way. So this is just helping to keep it somewhat dry. I have a latch up here. Keep this door open. So we've been talking about buying a second little coop, but the prices this year were just horrid, like twice as much as we paid for our first little coop. So we're doing our best to make this coop work until later in the fall or early winter when the prices on the coops will come down. Alright, my ducks are over there and they want out too. Good morning, ducks. It's raining. It's a beautiful day in your neighborhood. It's hard to tell the difference between the sex of ducks too, but I believe we have 4 females and 1 male. We had one that was smaller and his behavior was different, so I'm basing that off of behavior and size. No eggs yet from the ducks. But we're gonna need eggs, so I'm glad I believe we have 4 females. Replaced this door on this side twice since we bought this. We bought this used. The door used to flip down to the pond, but it stayed wet and it swelled and started rotting. I just cleaned that pond yesterday. I clean the pond most days now. These guys aren't allowed outside because they went in the road last week when we were working on a house. Waiting for a breeze. These shade tarps, there we go. Look at that shade tarp blowing in the wind. That's been fun to watch this year. We're still a little wet from this morning's rain, but we're getting ready to take them down, and I wanted to get that on film. Look how pretty that is. That's been fun. I love the sail a lot. And this one's very efficient. The poles, we have to do something because they're leaning. We have to brace them on top. We just had so many projects this year, we could not get to it. I have all the things I need in Greenhouse 1. Need some sand, which I have a bag of. Brought home from vacation. But a quick shot of what's going on in here while I'm in here. This I need to take in the house. Purple heart. That is propagations taking hold, looking good. I have a little pepper plant in here that is ripening peppers. I'm going to try to winter them over. This is a palm that I grew from seed. Date palm. Amaranth has been harvested. So I just let it dry some and then I pull it all off the string and then blow the fluff off, and then the grain is left behind. It's heavier so it doesn't blow off. Use the wind to fan. I usually use wind and blowing on it. Then I take the grain inside and try to get the dirt out of it, or whatever. My king tut was pulled out of the pond, I don't know, a month ago? 3 weeks ago, maybe. Put in a pot that could come inside later, and it started blooming. I knew this thing bloomed. I've seen it before in pictures, but I've never had one that bloomed. So those are the buds. They just haven't opened yet. So that's exciting, and I'll be sure to share that with you as it happens. I am in Greenhouse 2, and I am going to plant a square foot of carrots. I learned the square foot method in a book called Square Foot Gardening, and it's good for a small space, and this greenhouse is 6 by 6. Tomatoes I'm leaving for now, but I'm adding cold crops around them. The broccoli and Brussels sprouts already in that I had preceded. A lot of my lettuces got too wet and got dampened off, but I have some. So I forgot to loosen the soil. I thought I was all ready to plant. But for carrots, the ground needs to be loosened for the carrots to grow uniformly, which are nice when you're picking them. So on the other side of the greenhouse, I still have tomatoes and peppers. It's a small space. I gotta be careful not to step on my stuff. But I still have tomatoes ripening. Matter of fact, that one looks about ready to take. So that makes me happy that there's tomatoes in here still ripening. And not to step on my sea sprouts. So I still have tomatoes, but I'm planting my cold crops around them while they finish. And I also have peppers in here in the middle that were shaded by the tomatoes. The tomatoes just did absolutely great in here. So it's a pretty big plant. There's a couple peppers on it. Not doing as well as the one in greenhouse 1. Has a couple ripening. And then this one has nice big ones. So this one's right in the front corner. And it has some nice big peppers. So this is my first summer successfully growing in a greenhouse in the ground, in the garden. So this was all experimental, and the tomatoes and the peppers did really well in the heat. Boy, was it a hot summer. So I'm not really looking to keep them long term in here, but I am finishing up. So the tomatoes will be the first to go, and then the peppers we'll see. I already have 3 peppers in pots that I'm hoping to winter over. So to give me a head start next year. So I'll finish filming in here around the time the sprouts are coming up. I did not label my rows because when the plants get to a certain size with a few leaves, I can tell what they are. So I have a whole row here, but they're not all up. And I had some onions in front of this log that I've been stepping on. So that's why that log is there, to keep me from stepping on them. Because I seen a bunch of sprouts there. And then this morning I couldn't see them. Hopefully the critters will stay out of here. Some Swiss chard did really well. It gets pretty good size. I think I'll put a couple of these in greenhouse 2 and put the rest of them along the fence. I think they'll look good there. I don't see my spinach coming up. That's too recent, but I did plant a row of carrots outside and a square foot of carrots inside greenhouse 2. The onions, the foliage died back when it was really hot, and they're coming back. They were planted in the spring. And then the rest of the lettuce. And garlic that I missed is coming up. I do not remember what that is. Broccoli? Yeah, that's broccoli. And Swiss chard. Mature. Planted in the beginning, early in the season. So I think I'll do that. I'll put the Swiss chard back here. Found some more lettuce mixed in with the Swiss chard. And I put some Swiss chard tucked behind the tomato plant on both sides. So I'm going to jam this thing full. And then Swiss chard out here. Need to water now, and I'm done. On the fence here, I have morning glories. There's moonflowers also, but the moonflowers on this side are not blooming. I did see some on the other side. Peppers are ripening, a row on both sides of the garden. Looks like these guys are ready to pick. Orange on this side, and then there's red on the other. Jalapenos. My jalapeno pepper's usually huge. This one's a dwarf in comparison to what they usually are. For me, pepper season wasn't great. I missed lots of garlic. Garlic wasn't great this year. I was going to blame it on the garden rebuild because everything got disrupted, displaced. But the heat is part of it too. I sold a bunch of garlic this year too to a customer who asked. And I had so much, this is carrots, that I planted. When did I plant these? Early this year, this season. I got my tools laying on the ground around me because I'm cleaning and planting. That's a big pepper plant. Oh my goodness. Where's the darn peppers? I had to tie these up recently. There they are. Right on this side. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I waited a long time. And I started these peppers early. But for whatever reason, maybe the heat, they were stunted. But these plants have gotten so big that I've recently added stakes and tied them up. This is the side where the moonflowers were. Is that pepper that fell? Oh, here we go. If I get around here, get on this side, this thing's loaded with peppers. And it was heavy and it was laying on the ground. That's probably why there's peppers on the ground. Because the plant was laying on the ground. It's loaded. And the moonflower has a different leaf than the morning glories. I've been pulling morning glories that have reseeded from last year all year because they're poisonous to chickens. There's a moonflower from last night. It's huge. I didn't have my camera on me last night. There's some more peppers on the ground. There's green beans in here. There's so much going on though, it's hard to find the green beans, so I won't call that a success. Look at the leaves on the moonflower. They're gorgeous. Getting ready to bloom. This should bloom out really, really nice before it frosts. This was the other one I seen on the ground. This broke off when I was staking them. So I have some good spring onions. I had lettuce here that reseeded early in the year. And I shook it real hard and I'm pretty sure that's what this is all over the ground. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm looking for, things that reseeded. This is broccoli. Right now what it's putting off is a broccolini. Little broccolis. But as it gets cold, there's the culprit. That's what's eating. That's what's eating on my leaves. It's a caterpillar. This garden has gone through so many phases. There was a time early on. Oh, here's some more onions. Is this onions? I think so. Cool. I like those kind of green onions. I like those. Early on, this garden was going to be shared with the butterflies, caterpillars, animals, like an animal sanctuary type of garden. And then it was permaculture for a minute, which I'm still kind of keeping that idea. It doesn't have to be all one thing. Problem is, I see something ornamental that I really love for my flower gardens, and then I see the apple trees and the fruit trees, and I end up going for the stupid shrub every time, and I need to just say no. Just get a plum tree. Just get a fruit tree. I have been taking out my Sweet William from the middle. It's too short for the middle. That's just where it came out, and I'm rearranging it to get it right, aesthetically speaking. So we'll have a lot of Sweet William blooming around the outside of the garden. And I'm planting taller things inside the garden. Hollyhocks was one. And there's another one that I have a picture of that's really pretty. I'll put it up there, because I don't remember the name of it. So I've done a lot of work on this garden. Work, work, work. I didn't love every minute of it, but most of it. It's just so hot. How many times have you heard me say that this year? How beautiful is that? Oh my goodness, so worth it. See, I trimmed this, but I left some. It still looks good. I worked on this one.